because Benfica are in town, and that means Jose Mourinho is in town, and that means Gary Cottrell is in town. Gary.
Yeah, we're here at Stamford Bridge, the return to Stamford Bridge of Jose Mourinho. He's just given a tour de force news conference, of course, as he always does. We'll try a little pirouette all the way around at the camera because obviously there are so many crews here for the return of Jose, and see him right in the distance there, looking resplendent in his new Benfica training kit, and he was answering questions about all kinds of things, of course, about Chelsea in the past, in his day, about Chelsea in the future, and it was really interesting about Chelsea as it is now. He said that there was, yes, a period of disappointment and doubt when the new ownership took charge, but he said last season there was better times. He said there was a period of happiness and trust under Enzo Maresca, and that he says that Chelsea are back on track. He's very, very happy, he says, at Benfica, when he was asked whether one day he could return to Chelsea. But of course, he says that blue will always take up a little place in his heart, although he said before the game he's a blue tomorrow, after the game he's a blue tomorrow, but during the match he'll be a red. Look at him out there with his new players, looking like he's enjoying every moment of this. And here's a little snippet of what he had to say a little bit earlier on.
If you look to your right, there's that picture of you famously holding up three fingers. To your left, there's a picture of you with your second Premier League trophy. There's also another picture here. 5 pictures in this big room. 3 of them are of you. I know you say that you're not a blue anymore, but will you always inside be a little bit blue?
Of course.
And is it like coming home?
Of course. Of course I will always be a blue. I'm part of their history, and they are part of my history. I helped them to become a bigger Chelsea, and they helped me to become a bigger Jose. When I say I'm not a blue, I hope everybody understands it, that I'm speaking about the job that I have to do tomorrow.
This place is special to you, so romantically, did you hope one day you'd be able to come back here and manage again at Chelsea?
We never know. We never know. After 25 years, I was expecting to go back to Portugal to the national team, not to Benfica. And I'm back to Benfica. So I don't have career projects. I don't try to think what can happen, what cannot happen.
What a few weeks coming up for Jose Mourinho. Chelsea tomorrow night, then back to Porto, where he achieved so much as well in the league at the weekend. Then the international break, and then to St James's Park for the next Champions League challenge for Benfica. The little magpie, as he calls himself, because of his relationship with Sir Bobby Robson, returning to Newcastle. It doesn't get any easier for Jose Mourinho. And just before we hand back, just a little mention for Therese Connolly, who's a long servant of Chelsea. She's behind the scenes here. She sorts out all the matchday accreditation for family and friends of the players, and also for the media. A massive hug from Jose to Therese as he left the news conference. She loved every moment of it. I think he did too.
Love that. Gary Cottrell, live from Stamford Bridge. Thanks, Gary.
Right, lads and lasses, settle yourselves down, because we've just had one of those truly special Stamford Bridge days. You could feel it in the air, a proper sense of occasion, that electric atmosphere that only one man can bring. Benfica are in town for the Champions League, but let's be honest, the story isn't about the match itself, is it? It's about Jose Mourinho walking back through the doors. We've just come out of his press conference, a tour de force, as our man Gary Cottrell rightly called it, and if you were worried that he'd become some quiet, reserved, post-Chelsea version of himself, you were miles off the mark. The sheer media circus surrounding his return tells you everything you need to know. He was asked all the questions about the past, the future, and, crucially, about the current state of play under Enzo Maresca. And look, we all know the gaffer Maresca is under a bit of pressure right now after a few sticky results, even with the fantastic trophies we bagged last season. Verified based on our research today, 29th September 2025. But Jose, the master of psychology, had a very interesting take on it all. He acknowledged the initial period of disappointment and doubt when the new ownership first took charge, but he was quick to point out the positive shift. He said he saw a period of happiness and trust under Maresca last season, and in his view, the club is now back on track. It's a huge vote of confidence, or at least a powerful piece of protective shield, from a man whose words carry the weight of 3 Premier League titles here. Now, before we dive into his emotional confession about his blood running blue, a quick word. If you're loving this exclusive insight and want to be the first to know what's really going on at the Bridge, do us a massive favour, smash that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. We are nothing without you, the dedicated Chelsea faithful. So, the emotional core of his return. Picture this. Jose is sitting in the press room at the Bridge, the very stadium where he made history, and he's surrounded by giant pictures. Our man on the ground noted that out of 5 photos in the room, 3 of them were of Jose, lifting those iconic trophies. When he was asked if he'd always be a little bit blue inside, his answer was pure gold, delivered with that classic, unmistakable grin. Of course, he said. Of course I will. I will always be a blue. I'm part of their history and they are part of my history. I helped them to become a bigger Chelsea, and they helped me to become a bigger Jose. A proper goosebumps moment, wasn't it? He made it clear that while tomorrow night, Tuesday, he has to be a red for Benfica, before and after the game, he is, and always will be, a blue. That's not just PR talk, that's the honest truth of a genuine, unbreakable connection. He also addressed the inevitable question, could he ever return to manage the club again? His response was classic Jose, philosophical and non-committal. He simply said, "We never know. I don't have career projects. I don't try to think what can happen, what cannot happen. But the fact he's returned to Benfica after all these years, when he expected the Portuguese national team job, shows that life can indeed throw curveballs." Finally, in a lovely, human touch that often gets overlooked, as he left the conference, he stopped for a massive hug with a long-serving, behind-the-scenes hero of the club. There's Connolly, who handles accreditation for the media and families. That small gesture speaks volumes. The special one remembers everyone, from the top brass to the staff who make the match days run. This isn't just a Champions League fixture, folks. It's a family reunion. It's a reminder of a glorious past colliding with a challenging present, all while keeping a hopeful eye on the future Maresca is building. Let's get behind the boys tomorrow night and show Jose that while he's forever a blue, we're all focused on making new history right now. Come on, you Blues!